month. Everybody within plexus is amazing, but I have specific people that I just deeply love and deeply respect, that I want their wisdom to be shared and imparted into you guys and into our team. And so Megan Milakovic is one of those ladies, and most of you guys know her. She went Emerald within her first year. Her story about convention is circulating all over the place right now. Megan actually just got in touch with me a few hours ago, and she and her whole family are coming down with this crazy illness. And so the really cool thing is that she is actually running this business with her mother, Cheryl Muller. And Cheryl is also an Emerald. I got to meet Cheryl this past September when we were in Hawaii. We swam together late at night, had so much fun. And so Cheryl, her team is in crazy, massive, major momentum right now. They have tangible things that they are doing that they're going to share with us. So that's why I said, I want you guys to have your pen and your paper. And I love that she's just so willing to jump on just a couple of hours prior to this call. And she's excited to share. I don't know a ton about her story, but I know she's beautiful and amazing. And doing this mother-daughter combo is so fun. So Cheryl, I'm going to have you take it away. She's going to share her story. And then if we have a few minutes at the end, I would love to have some questions and answers. So you guys don't be shy. Be thinking about your Q&A. Okay, take it away, Cheryl.
Well, that was the loveliest introduction ever. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. Yes. Thinking back on Hawaii, that was amazing. I can't wait to go back again. So yes, my name is Cheryl Muller, and yes, I am Megan's mom, and I'm telling you, it is absolutely amazing to do business with her. I mean, we love it. Like our whole life, we've always been really close. So to be able to do this together has really been part of our why and our dream too. So that's really fun as well. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I'll just give you a little background on my story first. So my upline is Alita Allen, and she had asked me about plexus. So she started doing plexus, and I was like, what is she doing? Like, that is so weird. And I wanted nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, I tried to avoid her at certain things. We were at Bible study together, and she would be like, no, I can't do that on Tuesday night. I've got a Zoom. I'm like, what do you mean a Zoom? Like, I didn't know what she was talking about. So, I just kind of avoided it, and she would, whatever. Anyway, so I was at her house one day, and I was talking about how mine and my husband's cholesterol was going up. And she says, we have plant-based omegas. And I just laughed. And she whipped her computer out, put it right in front of me. And before you know it, I was a preferred customer buying Mega X. So that is actually how I started. And, so that's really funny. And then, I think that was in May. And then in June, the next month, her husband passed away. And then in July, my husband and I really have walked alongside of Alita as like her, we call her our adopted daughter as well. So we wanted to do something to support her. So we knew that she was selling plexus. So we thought, you know what, so I just hopped on board and bought the triplex. I don't even think I told her that I did it. And so then it began, and I really had no expectations. I actually made a pact with my one other friend who wasn't doing plexus, who was a friend of Alita's, that we would never do plexus, and we shook hands. So I'm telling you, you just never know who's going to change their mind. I always tell people, no judgment. You can't judge people, because I mean, you're going to hear story after story after story of people who say no, or roll their eyes, or make bets that they're never going to do it. Now, of course, my mistake was not recruiting her once I hopped on, because then Alita did. So anyway, so that's kind of funny. But I just took the products, and everybody laughs at me because I started so slow and whatever. I was afraid of them a little bit. And And so then I just took them month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. And then I went down to Megan's for Christmas. She lived in Florida. And I put my shorts on and they were loose and I kept having to hike them up, and I'm like, what is with this? It was so annoying. And the times in between, Meg and Phil and I would make fun of plexus to no end. Like, I can't even tell you the things that we said about it. But then all of a sudden, at that particular visit, I was like, well, no, they're really all natural and plant-based, and I'm finding whatever, and they're like, it sounds like you're defending plexus. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of good. Like, I'm liking it. And then so it began. So that's when I really started to take notice. I started to lose weight. I started to lose inches. And then just, cliff notes, I got off of all my allergy medicines. I was taking hormone medicines. I'm off of those. I don't have hot flashes anymore now that we came out with X Factor Plus. I've dropped a total of 40 pounds. And one of the things that we've been talking about lately is that it's not so much that I dropped 40 pounds. Now, I've been doing this 3.5 years. It's that it's still off. Like, it's never come back on. I still eat, reasonable. I don't ever deprive myself of anything. And so, like, that's my new focus these days. It's like, it's not that I just lost 40 pounds, it's that it stays off. What else? I don't have migraines anymore. So I'm on no medicines whatsoever. I'm 57, and I always say 57 is fabulous. And I'm just loving life. My husband's healthy. Meg and Phil started to get healthy, and I started exercising and do all kinds of stuff. And I mean, it's just crazy. So the products have been amazing, and I've loved them. And I couldn't have a better story. Cholesterol, funny you should ask that. It kind of is annoying because my husband's was like up at 350. Like, before we started, it was crazy. Mine was just creeping up to like 150 if we're talking totals. So his is like down to 119. It's lower than mine. And I'm like, I can't believe it. So our cholesterol is great. I get emails from my primary care about how healthy we are. And my husband's been able to come off of his blood pressure medicines. His heart doctor actually worked with us. He's like, I don't know what that is, but I can see it's working. So we just broke pills in half and half and half and half, and then we're done. So, and him and I have lean shakes every single day. It's our thing. And the other funny thing is, I don't know if you've ever seen this or heard this, is that I'll marry you for better or for worse, but not for lunch. Okay, there's a whole marriage devotional about it. I actually think I'm going to do it with my husband because it's just, lunch is annoying, and now we just have nutrition, and we know what we're having. And I knew that it was something good when I asked him one day, do you want a grilled ham and cheese, or do you want one of those shakes? And he's like, yeah, I'd rather have one of those shakes. I was like, okay, now it's good. So, and I'm telling you, this is another little, and I'm not real organized. Like, I've got 5 separate points. So I'm just going to kind of go where, your husbands are paying attention. So I don't know if your husband is on board with you or you're dragging him along a little. My husband kind of stood back for a while, but he's always supported me. But I remember going to him specifically when I wanted to go Emerald, because I knew that I needed his support. I was like crying on the porch talking to him. He's up on a ladder. He's like, what are you crying about? And I was just like, this is, important to me, and I need your support. And of course, that was on the last day practically of the month, well, the last week anyway. And so that was really, and he was like, yeah, he's all in. But every once in a while I'll say, oh man, I've been so busy today. And he'll look at me and I'll go, but did you do your IPA? I'm like, how do you even know what that is? And I mean, they're always listening. And then I'll say something, and he'll be like, it's all about gut health. And like, he always has every tidbit that I say, he's got, and he says back. So that's always fun. But anyway, so, Meg laughs about her. Like, I think it took me 9 months to go silver because I didn't want to share. I still was at that. I didn't want to share. and people started asking me. So they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? And so they started, so Megan signed up, my cousin and my friend Lisa, and they're all still doing it, which is amazing. So I went silver after like, I don't know, like 9 months or something like that. And then Megan got the bug about working the business when she came back from convention that first year. And so, that's exciting. That's encouraging. We all say, I mean, excitement is contagious. So I kind of got that excitement. And so I started, and meanwhile, I've been doing a bunch of stuff. And really my background is, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that, I am a CPA, and I've had my own CPA business for over 30 years. So that's what I was doing. So I thought, well, I don't need another business. I already have a business. But so Meg and I started working the business, and really, since I didn't know that much about it, Alita really came alongside and she really trained Megan. I mean, I am forever grateful for that. So you always need to be grateful for your uplines, your downlines, your sidelines. I'm telling you, when we say one team plexus, we mean it. I just have never seen it anywhere, and I've been in the corporate world and it's not there. So then I just started working the business, and I was very slow. Meg had all her younger people, and I kind of didn't have my niche. But this is the one piece of advice that Alita gave me. I tell everybody it was the best piece of advice I ever got. She said, you just work your business as you. People love you. You have something to tell them, something to share with them. You are going to be the leader that they need. They don't need Megan. They don't need Emily. They don't need Brooke. They don't need Jen. They don't need me. They need you. And you're the best leader for your team. And so I really took that to heart, and I ran with that. And that's been the best piece of advice I've ever gotten. Just be you, because you're the one who can run your business the best. And that doesn't mean you don't take advice, but just be you. And that was, that was the best. So then, so we just were on a roll. There was a lot of momentum. We've had our ups and downs. We've not reached goals sometimes or whatever, but what really matters is that you're taking action. You always need to be taking action. You can't be talking about it. So you can't be getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready, because what happens is you have to take that action, and that action allows you to be ready. So you have to take that action. And that kind of goes to, mindset, because, we always have these fear stories that we tell ourselves, and it doesn't even change as you go emerald, sapphire, diamond. Everybody still has these fear stories. I mean, even over the past year, you've seen Brooke Hemingway, like just her whole fear story and mindset and everything changed, even as a diamond. But even Alita and I were digging down the other day, and we were thinking about going sapphire and beyond and all that stuff. And one of the things that we talked about was that I had to get rid of that old senior gold story that kept running around in my brain, because, I wasn't as knowledgeable then. I wasn't as active. I wasn't as good of a leader. I mean, we all are. We learn and earn, and then we grow and all of that. So, I had really stepped into my leadership, a little, back going emerald and all of that. And I was still hanging on to that old senior gold story in my head. And so, so we went emerald in a year, which was amazing. Meg went emerald May. I went emerald in July after I had started working the business, and we've been there for a year, but, which isn't bad at all, because, a lot of times we don't talk about, sometimes you lose points. I mean, that is just a reality, but then you get going again. But you these fear stories, just like, oh my gosh, well, what if I'm not good enough to be a sapphire, and all of that. You got to get rid of all that junk, work on mindset, and step into that role. Imagine yourself, I am that sapphire, I am that diamond. And what else is really neat is that I have taken that concept, because I'll tell you, one of my things is, oh gosh, messaging just gives me hives. Like I'm just being honest with you. What I realized is that I have this default excuse that, I'm so good at helping everybody on the team. Oh, I'm not good at messaging. Well, you have to let that go. You have to own that. Own your excuses. Oh my gosh, own your excuses. And and tell yourself that, I am good at messaging. I'm so good at talking to people. What's the difference if I'm talking to somebody in a message or I'm talking to somebody on my team? It really is the same, but this was the change in messaging for me. So what I did was I would sit with my eyes closed and I would kind of type up a message, but know what I want to say. And I would visualize, like, why am I thinking about this person? What is it that I see? How do I see their life in 6 months? Oh, they've talked about wanting to lose weight, and I can see them going in and buying clothes and being that 1 or 2 size smaller, and they're going to have confidence, they're going to be happy, and their whole family is just going to be like, just jumping around and happy, and they're going to have great conversations at their dinner table, and she's going to go out and exercise, and you're going to see her walking. I mean, you just visualize whatever it is that you know about that person, how their life is going to change. And I'm telling you, that changes the way you message people. I mean, when you go in with that mindset, that's different than, hey, I'm doing plexus. You want to join me? I mean, it's just totally different. So that's one of the things that really helped me with my messaging. Okay, so something else that has really changed us with like some great momentum that we have had is we have been doing power hours every morning. Now, because that also allows me 9:30 to 10:30, we do power hours. Whoever hops on, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just me and Alita. Sometimes it's me, Alita, and my rising soon to be senior Ruby, Angela. But you know what? We did it every day. And it just allowed me to do the things that I needed to do, that messaging or whatever follow-up or things like that. And then I could go off and do that helping that I love to do. I'm a helper. And so I'll just go out of my way and help, but I felt okay doing that and whatever back office stuff I needed to do and stuff like that. But I got those messages out. So we're doing that again this month. So that has been huge. And the other is you really need to link arms with someone that, and for me, it happens to be my downline. We just really found a groove. Find someone that's a little bit different, but that you really mesh. So like we started doing all these, Plexus has great systems, but we started creating all these messages that were just universal that we could send out. So she would just draft something up, no periods, no, send it to me. And then I'd go through and I kind of, change some things. And then we talk about, oh, that's how we could do that. Cause I'm great at editing, but don't ask me to create it. And so we came up with all these messages. Okay, if someone is loving their products, but they're not sharing, hey, we know how you love your products, and we would love for you to do a shout out. And so that's another, so all these are kind of around shout outs. So, I mean, it seems basic, but it's exploded. This month was crazy with shout outs from people we never thought would do them. And so, we would give them 2 different options. We could do like the original shout out if they didn't do it. And then we could do another shout out if, I've just been loving my products kind of thing. If they come back and they say, no, I don't really want to do that, then we had an option. Okay, well, that's great. But we know that you love Angela and you want to support her. And could you do a shout out for her business? And then she'll just take those leads and run with them. So we use them as connectors. You know what I mean? So connectors are really important too. We always say it's not necessarily who you know, but who they know. Okay. And so we did that. And then we did other ones for 1 to 99 people and started now. It's March 2nd. You start them now. You reach out to them, say, hey, I know you've been loving your pink train, but I'm telling you, have you ever tried Metaburn? Remember you said weight loss was your goal, or, have you ever tried ease? I know that, you've got some issues with your joints. Like, just start talking with them. And you know what you have to do sometimes? You ready for this? You gotta pick up the phone. That's another one. So we do so much texting, and that's great, and messaging, and all of that. But sometimes, like if I was in my car and stuff, I just pick up the phone. Hey, Rose, I know I've messaged you a couple of times and I'm wondering how is it going, and then we get on these things. She's like, you know what? I'm not taking my ProBio 5 and my Bio Cleanse because it just doesn't work at night. I don't remember. I'm like, okay, great. Take it in the morning. She's like, oh, okay. Like literally that was all that was keeping her from reaching her health goals. And she was not, some people don't like messaging. So I picked up the phone, talked to her. After all, they're our friends, right? So pick up the phone sometimes. And let's see, what else? I talked a little bit about mindset, but you really need to figure out the same thing with like be your own person and be the leader that just you are. Pick, personal growth is huge. And I laughed at that as well. And I was like, Alita would tell me to do stuff. And I was always honest. Like I say, own your excuses. I would always own where I was. Like I've never, like I would own it. She would ask me to do something. I'm like, nah, nope, I don't want to do that. And so she always knew where I stood, but like eventually a couple months in, I was like, yeah, you know what? Personal growth is important. And so you pick who you like. And we have been loving, and I can even give this to Emily. We have been loving Jack Canfield has a great, it's an hour and 20 minutes, but we've committed to that this month. It's just it's on YouTube. I forget what the name, I forget exactly the name of it. And then the other one is, and this seems kind of funny, but we had to find a Christian one. And we're doing these I am affirmations. It's 26 minutes and you literally can put it on while you're making dinner, folding laundry, whatever it is that you're doing. And it just speaks to you because it really is like, you are what you focus on, and you really have to feed your brain because you can retrain those pathways. Dr. Carolyn Leaf is great at that. She's a neuroscientist or something like that, and we really can recreate pathways. So don't let a fear story stop you. Don't let negativity creep in, because you are worthy because God says you're worthy. And I always believe that you have something to say. If you've woken up, I always say God has a purpose for you. And these products are way too good to keep to yourself. And so even if people say no or they roll their eyes, you keep going because they'll come around. There are people I'm still talking to after 2 years, and you just never know whose life is going to change, because our boldness is sometimes somebody else's blessing. I really think about my one ambassador, Angela Beller, who had lupus. And literally she was not living her life. And yeah, that's it. And she now, she's doing some Olympic weightlifting, something or another. I don't even know. Like, it's crazy. She used to carry around a transfer wheelchair in her truck. And now she's out living life. She's a nurse. She's Angela Beller. So yeah, follow her. It's just crazy. She literally was living life from her bed, and she was on like 13 different medicines, and she's off of all of them. It's amazing. Like, she is living life to the fullest, and she's got a purpose, and people need to hear her story. So don't ever hold back. All right. Questions?
This is great. So I talked to Megan in September, and she had mentioned that, her husband Phil, I think is he gold now? Is he gold under her?
He probably is, yeah.
Okay. So her husband, Phil, he also helps with the business, and he does a lot of coaching calls. Now, do you guys, have you seen a lot of growth in your coaching calls, and what do those calls look like?
Oh, you know what? That's a great question, because I didn't write that down on my piece of paper, but I did want to touch on that. So in talking about linking arms with people, knowing your gifts, you really need to utilize your team like that, because this is the thing. I'm a helper, but and a researcher, but somebody else who's a red may not really work well with me, but they may work well with Megan or somebody else or whatever. You really need to utilize your whole team. And one of the things that Megan and I came up with was that her and Phil have taken on the role of, like, they do business coaching. I mean, like every night, all night, business coaching. And I've taken on this role of I've become the product guru. So I do product calls, and I'm telling you, it is amazing how that has changed retention. So we talk, because a lot of times retention is hard for people, but even when I was doing a coaching call with Plexus, they're like, your retention is really good. And, statistically speaking, and now we're working on it even more. So I do Zoom calls, product calls with everybody. So I mean, it's crazy sometimes, and I had to get this like little notebook because I couldn't even remember who I was talking to or whatever. But it really is neat because it's part of that third party verification as well. And so there is a lot of growth with that, because another thing we did was we started this group, this Emerald group, and Phil does calls for us every Tuesday. And he is just really amazing at, I don't know, he's just amazing. Like, I am so thankful that we have him, because he is really good at the business and helping us focus. And like, he's such an asset to us for sure.
So with your product calls, you said that you're doing them all of the time. Are you doing like with just ambassadors who are curious about the products? Are you doing one-on-one calls? Like, what, can you elaborate just a tiny bit on that?
Yeah, I do them pretty much for everybody. So any ambassador, sometimes they're just wholesale ambassadors, and sometimes, believe it or not, I've done them with seasoned ambassadors who've been around for a year or so. But it's amazing how you can just tweak somebody's product regimen, and it changes everything. Like, it's really crazy. And like, that's always been my niche. I researched ingredients. I would call Lena and say, give me another ingredient, and I research it. And so, I mean, like, that's what I found my passion. So I didn't say it, but last year I retired out my CPA business because I thought, oh my gosh, like, I never thought I'd have a passion like this, at this age. So I just love it. And so we'll do Zooms, and I asked them to tell me a little bit about their health goals, and we just talk about things that they can change. And I just speak a little bit of, just like science and health. I mean, they all know I'm not a nurse or anything, but I know the products, I know the ingredients, I know what they can do. And it just gives them all that comfort level, and it's just success. So I do them with anyone. And so we've got a busy book, we send it out, and we do half-hour calls. And so a lot of times their upline will be on as well, because they just want to hear and all that stuff. And then they really run with it. But if they think that they need to come back with me, they'll throw me in a chat, and or they'll just come out and ask me, and then they can guide a little. I tell people, come back for a refresher in 6 months if you want. That's fine.
That's so good. Does anybody have any questions for Cheryl with their organization? Because like she said, I mean, they've been maintaining Emerald and are looking towards Sapphire. And that is honestly, like, there are not a ton of people who are maintaining their Emerald rank. And so the fact that they're in momentum is a huge deal, much like our team. Our team is amazing. We're doing amazing too. But does anybody have any other questions for Cheryl? When your team is that big, how do you divide time to follow up with your people? Great question, Kylie.
Yeah, that's where duplication comes in. So yeah, so that is, and I mean, and you really need your, that's where the IPA and like a little planner kind of thing. So I don't know if you guys have planners. This is one that I started using this year, and it's really good. I don't know, I got it on some website, but it's really, it's really good. This has been the best one that I found, and it's really kind of simple, but you really have to lay it out. Ambassadors that you follow up with, and then customers that you follow up with, but you do it for your level ones, and you have to teach them to do it to theirs too. And that is really not always easy, and weaved in all of that. The other thing that we've really found, okay, so we Zoom a lot, like, we are Zoom crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So the other thing is that I'll do, outside of Megan's leg. So we're doing Zooms for the rest of the people. And I'm telling you, the people that we're doing the Zooms with a half hour a week are the ones that are growing. And you know what? we talk about plexus and we say we have little game plans and things like that, but you know what? A lot of it is just talking and relationship and seeing what's going on in their life, and it's just about yeah, it's crazy because it really, like 10 minutes of it is plexus and 20 minutes of it is just talking and seeing what's going on in someone's life and caring about them and all of that. So it's a juggle, but you've got to kind of keep on a regiment. And another thing that I do is I have, let's see, I don't know where it is, but I have a calendar that I print out. I'm obsessed with stuff like a CPA does things like this. So I have a calendar that I print out when a blank one, and I put when people's subscriptions are going out. So for instance, one of the things, be proactive. That's another thing. There's nothing worse than contacting people on the last day. Be proactive. So like I started two or 3 days before the end of February, and I reached out to them, to people whose subscriptions were going out in the beginning of the month. And I was like, hey, it's free shipping if you get it to 130 PV. And so there were so many people that were happy with that. So being proactive in that. So I can kind of look at this calendar and know who's coming up, and I kind of go in that order, following up with them. And then, you know, of course, anyone under, yeah, you just kind of have to map it out, come up with a game plan. So, and write it down in your IPA. And, you know, it doesn't have to be a lot. So even if you're doing 3 to 5 reach outs, you know, you can do, you know, 3 follow-ups. You can, you know, do, and, you know, maybe 2 or 3, 1 to 99 people, and, you know, just methodically. And then the perks report. Oh my gosh, the perks report has been amazing. I totally forgot about that. So you look at that. Now I'm still like trying to train people, because I'm such a back office person. I do all the back office training. We're starting to do YouTubes for everything. And so creating our own. So that's part of our new, you know, momentum as well. But the perks report is great because it's a conversation piece. Hey, you love free product. I noticed that if you just set up, you know, this for 100 PV subscription, you'll reach your health goals and you'll get free products. I mean, who doesn't love that? So.
Well, and going back to your duplication real quick, we'll end it at this in just a second, but going back to you saying it's all about duplication, if you're doing daily power hours, I mean, just what we talked about in our accountability group last week, y'all, is that duplication is truly you doing the things and sharing them with the people who want to do them with you. Like, you don't have to have some crazy, huge, elaborate system. You just have to do the things and then share it with others. So I know that Cheryl was talking a little bit about linking arms with people that you mesh with. And so this goes perfectly, it segues perfectly into what we're doing this month with the March Momentum. We are giving away for day 1, I'm giving away a full bag of active that you guys can use for yourself. You can use for samples, for your business purposes. So that make sure that you put in our day 1 for March Momentum, who your power partner is that you're linking arms with for this challenge. And that will hopefully go into the following months, because having a power partner, having an accountability partner is so vital for your business. My business took a 180 shift the moment I had my power partners. And so make sure that you guys are active on our March Momentum post every single day, because if you're active, then your downline will be active, because that is the power of duplication. You doing the things, your teammates will see you doing the things. You guys being on the call tonight, that's leadership. Leaders show up. So I'm so proud of every single one of you guys for being on there. I want to, again, encourage this March Momentum, regardless if you get prizes or not. Just like Kylie said the other day, she needs this step-by-step blueprint, even if it's simple, but just this simple guideline of daily action steps to take. And again, for people who are starting out, it's not overwhelming. This is a great way to plug people in for how to get started in the business. And again, the poinsettia is going this month, which is a huge deal. I know that Hannah's team has huge goals right now, which I'm so excited about. And we can all just be praying, and I'm just going to announce it. We all just going to be praying and rooting for Hannah because she is going Emerald this month or next month. And so we are going to back her up, and we are going to have a huge month this month and next month because we're being consistent, because we're showing up, because we're doing the things, because we have products that are changing people's lives. And don't forget that we rise by lifting others. So don't forget our place in this. This is not for us just to go out and make a ton of money. This is for us to go and help people like the Angela Bellers who were like lifeless before plexus. So I'm pumped about this. I'm pumped about where our team is going right now. I'm pumped that Hannah and Zach are going to be in Hawaii with us this next year. And I know that there are so many other people who are so close to getting that too. If you are in our accountability group, what we're going to do is we're going to log out of this, and then we're going to just click the same link and then show up in about 2 seconds. Like as soon as we get off of this call, click the link and then jump back onto the accountability call. We'll do that for about 10 minutes. Then you guys go be with your family. Cheryl, thank you so much for filling in the gaps, for giving us so much wisdom, so much for us just to chew on and figure out how we can start implementing some of these things that are working for you and your growing team. I'm so excited for you. We are cheering for you guys too, as you guys have huge things happening. We had Alita as our speaker last month, and so we are huge fans of your team. We love you guys. Thank you all so much for being on the call, and we will see you Accountability Girls in 2 seconds. Bye, you guys.